We are live. Kira,
Geoffrey.
how are you
Does
doing?
does anybody call you Geoffrey? Like use your full name? Like when you were young and you got in trouble, if you ever got in trouble, was it like Geoffrey?
Geoffrey Martin. Yes. Yeah.
Geoffrey Martin?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was your middle name.
hmm Geoffrey Martin. My grandmother and my mother would call me, and my dad. No, my mom and grandma. Geoffrey Martin was the word. When I was in trouble or when there was seriousness in the room, they bring the middle name in. Um,
And did
Always.
you get in trouble a lot? Were you like, the kid that they had to discipline quite a bit?
Um, did I ever get in? Yes, sometimes. I once sawed down the neighbor's tree. I got in trouble for that.
Why would you
Um,
do that?
I thought it was the Nipshields. They live back next door to us in De Pere, and I got my little brother. And we went and we got saws, and we just there was this pine tree, and I really wanted to saw it down for some reason. And so we just started sawing off branches. And my dad got home and was like, "You can't saw down." Oh, maybe we thought it was a Christmas tree. I think that's what it was. We were trying to find a Christmas tree, and we were started to saw off branches. I was like 8, but we got in trouble for that. We had to go over and apologize to Mr. Nipshield for cutting down his pine tree.
Was this?
We didn't get all the way through. We were kids, kind of messing around with it, trying to,
Yeah.
and it didn't work out. That was when we were kids. I mean, yeah, there were various times in high school and such that we people got into trouble in college for sure. Um, I got we got in trouble for sneaking back into a hotel we were all staying in. That was big trouble. We all got thrown out. We were partying a little too hard.
Wow,
Um,
I had no idea that you were such a party person and troublemaker.
in college, it got a little out of hand at points, Kira. In college, we got a little rowdy.
I don't know anything about that.
How about you, Kira? Are you a trouble?
No, it's funny. I think this is why I don't relate to children very well because I don't understand why they are bad. Like why they act out, because I never did ever. I was like, and I'm not tooting my own horn about but I didn't talk until I was 4 years old. So I just like literally sat there and just watched, and I never cried, and I just was like super chill.
Yeah.
Never got in trouble in high school, really. I think I went to a rave one time. The one time I went to a rave, and my mom like finds out. Meanwhile, my sister was going to raves like every day, but the one time I go, I gave her a fake number, and then I didn't come home for 2.5 days. Um, and then she called the cops, and you know,
Wow.
reported me missing. I think that was the only time. That's when I first started MD, or that's when I tried MDMA for the first time. I think I was like 16. But other than that, and then college, I was in a sorority, but like not one that like super party. But I really wanted to graduate with honors in college. I loved college. I was like total nerd taking like graduate level courses because I was like, feed my brain full of information. But
Where'd
I
you go
had
to
my,
college?
I went to University of Pittsburgh.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. My
That-
parents went to Carnegie Mellon, but I'm not smart enough to get over there. It's a little hard to get into Carnegie Mellon these days.
yeah, but you,
So
you you're pretty darn smart. You went on and you worked at CAA with me, and then you went and you worked at Google for a while. I mean, you've had
yeah,
quite a path. So I
I had a
mean,
good run.
a good
I've had
good
a
run.
good run. So
Um,
if I get the vaccine and shit doesn't work out well, I had a good run. Now you had your vaccine, right? You had it what, last week or this week?
I can announce that I had the first shot on Tuesday of this week, so I had it 48 hours ago. What's up, Vernon? We see you. Vernon Daniels in the house. How you doing, buddy?
Hi, Vernon.
We like to say hi to our viewers. Um, Basically, I had the shot on Tuesday, and I it was quick. I mean, I drove a good distance. I drove outside of LA, 50 miles to get it.
Yeah.
because I made the appointment a week prior, and the only place you could get it was outside LA. I think there's more availability now locally, so I'll probably get the second shot of the Moderna more locally. I think you can transfer it. That's April 6th, but I went and I got it, on Tuesday, 2 days ago. And yesterday, my arm was really sore, which everyone gets. And it sounds like most people, I think it said like 90% of people get a sore arm. And then, like, on the first shot, like 50% get flu symptoms. I think like 80% on the second shot, but like 50% on the first shot. And for like 8 hours, I was working on a set on a show yesterday, and I had, suddenly it just felt like and I haven't had the flu in years. I can't even remember when I last had the flu, but it was that feeling of having the flu. It was like the extreme fatigue and just the feeling you feel when you're about to get sick is what it felt like, honestly. And the reason that happens, I've been reading about it and talking to people, is basically a vaccine is like a training video, a training manual for your immune system and body for a virus. So it's running the training video without actually being sick. So you're feeling everything you would feel if you were getting sick without the illness. And the first shot's kind of like introducing the training, is the way I heard it, like giving your body the instructions, and the second shot's like running a scrimmage, of what it would be like to have it. So
Right. I see.
so that's what I've heard. And honestly, it wasn't bad. I mean, honestly, I woke up today and it's still a little bit sore, but it's like 60% gone from yesterday, and I don't really feel that flu symptom anymore. So it ran what it did. And that was it. I didn't have fever, didn't have anything like that. Just kind of felt like run down, and I knew that's what it was.
I'm
So,
surprised that you're pretty ballsy to like, okay, gotta go on to work like the next day just in case. Like,
yeah.
you know, that's
I went day of. I mean, I went and got the vaccine and then drove straight to a show, and then just whatever. And then yesterday it was kicking in, but it's just part of, just got to get it done. And
I feel like only men do that, where they're like, you just, if you're feeling like shit, you just keep going. And I feel I
yeah,
personally not like that. I'm like, if I feel like shit, I am going to take days off, to make sure that, like, I don't know, I just hate being sick. The one thing I am concerned about when I do get the vaccine, which, that's TBD, but when I do get it, I already get sore anyways from like shots,
hmm,
like really sore, which means if this makes normal people's arms sore, that means my arm will feel like it's falling off. And like that sucks.
yeah.
But I guess getting COVID would suck even more, I suppose. But like arm falling off for 2 days just sounds like, you know,
If you rest it a lot and just don't move it, I mean, they say actually it's good to move it because it just gets everything back, but it does kind of suck. But it felt like I had done a extreme workout or something on it. It was like that kind of soreness.
like someone punched you, like punch buggy green.
That's right. It was pretty, you do feel it though. I mean, I could still feel it kind of in the shoulder, and I guess
Did it hurt? Like, did it hurt when they gave it?
did it hurt when they gave it? No, I didn't even feel it, but I was trying to record live video, so I wasn't really paying attention. So he was trying to get it, and I had the camera like out here, and he's like, okay, and I'm like, all right. He's like putting it in as I'm recording, and I got it live. I put it on Instagram, so that was fun. But
Now, do you feel like you have this like armor a little bit where you're like, all right, I not that you were concerned about getting COVID before, but do you feel like a little like,
well,
I'm protected now?
they say the first shot is 80%, and
Oh,
then
wow.
the second one takes you up to 95. So you're only getting that extra 15 from the first shot. It
Wow.
takes Mine's probably in process now, but they say it takes a couple weeks for immunity to kick in. Yes, there's a psychological thing where you do feel it, but honestly, I had COVID in March, April,
Right.
and they do know there's some immunity. They just don't know how
How much?
much. And I
Yeah.
kind of started to feel that once they told me I had antibodies, which is how I knew I had COVID. In May, I took 5 antibody tests, and they all showed up, or 4 out of 5 showed up to have the antibodies. And like 2% of people were showing antibodies at that point. So I had it. Even though that could wear off, I mean, they don't know how strong the immunity is. Like,
Right.
it wasn't a big hit, like as far as feeling immune now, because I think I kind of felt somewhat in May, and then maybe a little bit more now. But I do kind of feel, like if you go to set or whatever, obviously everybody's got to wear masks and everything. But like, I'm testing so much for COVID. Like every day they're testing for COVID. Like I have to get tested whenever I go to set or whatever, whenever I'm working on something. And so I'm taking so many COVID tests, and it's like once you've had both vaccines and it's been like a couple weeks after both vaccines, like why do you need to keep testing for like
Are they going to do that? So even
Yeah.
after you get the vaccine, you still have to get COVID tests?
apparently.
Oh, that's crazy.
Why are we getting the vaccine? Right? Like,
Well, right.
like,
I mean, at that point, well, screw it. I mean, we might as well just
Right.
test everyone every single day. I mean, that's crazy.
and it's that, and it's also, I mean, I get it with the masks, but isn't it going to be the same thing with masks and such? Like if you've been vaccinated, once everybody's vaccinated, what eventually we can take off the masks, right?
Well, yeah, I think the new CDC rules came out about the masks as it pertains to fully being vaccinated.
And they said vaccinated people can hang out somewhat, they said.
Yeah, so they're, I think that was something that everybody was asking, like waiting for the CDC to like, hey, when can we get back to, being human beings again?
Yeah.
And I think they're saying that you can now be indoors with up to 30 people, I think, without having to wear a mask.
You can now be indoors with up to 30 people if vaccinated, or what?
Yeah.
Indoors up to 30 people. Okay, well that's
But like, what does that mean exactly? Does that mean like, okay, so if a concert is 31 people,
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I know there's doctors and people on Twitter and such pushing this. I mean, there needs to be some type of rule eventually where once you're vaccinated, both shots, and it's been a month,
yeah.
like, are there any? What do we still need the health protocols for those people?
Well, that would mean we just have them forever. Is that what we're doing?
Right, right. I mean,
Are we doing the social distancing and the masks like forever until what? Until it's like polio, where it's like just eradicated? I mean, that's going to take decades. I don't understand. I don't think they really know, to be honest. I think they're trying to figure out.
It's a play by ear, take it day by day thing. No, I totally agree. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see. That's first thing. I also, by the way, there's before we get to right into the topic, there's a new app out called Wambio, which you can create. Shifting into this, you can create AI. It's really incredible, like deepfakes of anyone singing. This is like the new app everybody's talking about on Twitter. Is it literally can take a picture and it can have you singing. Check out Wambio. Kira has a great one that I created, and it's literally like it just takes a photo and it will make you singing in AI. If you saw the Tom Cruise deepfakes, if you Google that have been going around, it's kind of like that, where it's kind of related to that, but it's taking you and literally making you sing a popular song. What's happening with AI is incredible. It's a whole other topic, but I wanted to mention, I wanted to just pass through that. Check out Wambio if you haven't. Lee Miller has joined. Lee Miller's in the house. What's going on, Lee? Vernon says he does not want to get the vaccine. Lee says hopefully when everyone is vaccinated, the masks and social distancing will stop. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're hopeful for. Moving right along into what we want to talk about, what's happening with social media. We need to, Kira, you need to we'll keep this fairly short. I think we need to wrap up, like keep this a little bit shorter today. But we wanted to talk about social media, where it's going, Facebook, Instagram. What are the popular networks? We've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Snapchat, and now we have the newest, latest, greatest app which everybody's on, titled Clubhouse. It's especially, people are talking about it on Twitter, but it's spreading far and wide. What Clubhouse is it is an app that you still have to get an invite for, I believe, right?
Yes.
Kira has a couple days a week. She's doing different ones, different Clubhouse audios with some fellow friends of hers. But basically, you sign up, and it's an audio app, and you create a room, and people come into the room, and they listen to what the hosts are saying, and people in the audience can be invited up to the stage to talk or ask questions or participate. It's a participatory audio app. It's a very interface-friendly app, and everybody's talking about it. TikTok too. I forgot to mention TikTok. That's the other one. What's happening with social media? Because it really feels like Twitter and TikTok and now Clubhouse are really becoming, I mean, everything is going through, I mean, people still post on the other ones, but everything's going through Twitter. I mean, all the way up to the president, media, it just filtrates through Twitter. And now you've got Clubhouse and TikTok. Kira, do you think that these other platforms, the YouTubes, the Facebooks, Instas, are they in trouble? Like, what's going to happen here long term?
You know, the space is moving very quickly, as you would think it would, and as people who, you know, utilize these platforms, whether it be business or personal, it's always good to be able to be on the cutting edge of something before it turns into mainstream. And Clubhouse is that next, like, social media 2.0. You know, it's a little bit more refined, a little bit more dignified. People are more respectful. It's way more communal. There's not like infighting like you have on Twitter. And I think people are just getting tired of that. You have that infighting stuff on Facebook and Twitter and just a lot of hate. And, you know, that only lasts for so long. Mm-hmm. And it's been a few years now, and I think people are just exhausted by it. And I really feel that Facebook and Instagram and YouTube are going to have to start to really think about, and I'm sure they are, you know, I'm sure they have stuff going in the works right now, but it's time to evolve. Mm-hmm. And if they don't evolve fast enough, you've got Twitter and Clubhouse kind of neck and neck right now. And I have to imagine the numbers for engagement numbers for Facebook and Instagram have gone down significantly. I can see that less people are using it. It's just, your mind can only handle so much zombie scrolling, to the point where you're just like, you can't absorb it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's just mush. So I really feel that Facebook and YouTube and Instagram are going to start to see a downward trend unless they can come out with some new kind of product line to combat the latest and greatest version of social media.
Yeah. And TikTok too is the other one. TikTok too. Honestly, I've got to say, because TikTok is like a souped up Instagram with a Ferrari engine in it. That's how it feels. When you go on TikTok's algorithm, it literally is like crack. Like, the algorithm is so engaging the way it has it set up with these videos and with these short videos. It's designed to like grab your brain and reel it in, and it's just, the algorithm's so well done. The engineering of TikTok is whoever's designed and created that did it. It's so well done, and I can say that the Clubhouse has that same persuasive engineering, people behind it that know how to engineer so that to make it more likable and more user friendly and more ability to draw you in. So it feels like the engineering on these things is getting better.
Well, and I also think, to be honest, I think with everything in the news and everything, big tech, we've covered it a bunch. I think everyone's really sick of these massive companies,
Yeah.
Where Google's a behemoth and Instagram and Facebook and shadow banning, and you don't really know their privacy policies. They don't really know how they work. It just seems like it seems to me that society is now shifting into more transparency of these companies that we're just freely giving our data to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're going to see more of a diversification when it comes to social media. I think more Clubhouse type apps are going to come up because we're so sick of the big three, because we're so sick of these big tech giants just gobbling up all our personal data. I really feel that we're almost going back to like when the internet first came out, when there was excite.com and Yahoo and AOL and the plethora of big companies. I think we're going to start to see that breakup of these big tech, whether it be the US government making them break up or just new apps are just going to start coming out. I mean, Clubhouse, there's nothing to it. That's the other thing. If you're a person that has a business or a platform or a brand, YouTube and Instagram is some heavy lifting, like heavy.
Mm-hmm.
You have to research hashtags and you have to hire a marketer and you have to try and get the right audience and all of this stuff. I mean, you and I have gone through it. It's a lot. It's crazy. Whereas Clubhouse, you don't have to do any of that.
You have to do anything. You just push a button.
You just talk eloquently like the smart human being that we all are, and it works. You don't have to pay all these people to research hashtags and all this bullshit.
So that's
that's the ticket.
That's the genius of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I mean, you nailed it. I mean, that is the what you said there is the genius of it. I was telling a friend that what is, God, that's so on it though. What is like the brand Apple is like, it just works,
Yeah, you don't have to like hire someone. How many people have we had to hire?
Yeah.
To put this show together? I mean, we were just talking about it last week on the show that we're like, if you are wanting to do a show, just realize the amount of work on the back end it takes. And it really, and we might have manifested it, but I don't know which one of us mentioned it last week, but we were like, I can't wait for the moment when things start to become a little easier. And now they're getting a little easier. They're getting a lot easier.
They're getting a lot easier. And I will say, the reason, God, it's so right on it, but the reason they're getting, the reason they're going that way is because you just have to push a button, because the user interface is so friendly. And Twitter, and this is why Twitter, they've done a good job. I know that there's a lot of, when you say there's a lot of hate, that's not the developers or the engineers. That's just people on Twitter, going back and forth. From an engineering standpoint, though, where what YouTube and Facebook need to keep up with Twitter on is Twitter's now getting rid of Periscope because it was this adjunct live streaming app that made things too complicated. They're talking to the right engineers and the right people, and they know, this is my guess, to keep things simple. So they're getting rid of Periscope, and you're just going to be able to hit a button, live stream on Twitter, and you can go live. Like, that's it, And
that's how it should be. The pipes shouldn't be so difficult where you're having to pay someone in Pakistan to help boost or Instagram buy fake followers in order to boost your brand. I mean, That is crazy.
Hashtags,
Hashtag recommendations. And I mean, the amount of time all of us who utilize those platforms to build our brands, the amount of time we have spent researching this stuff is obscene.
yeah.
Obscene. And the amount of money we spent is, and I think everyone's just like, you know what? Can we go back to actually just talking to another human being and creating a connection and hitting mute or unmute? And that's it. That's the platform, like, and the best part of it about Clubhouse and Twitter is that more so Clubhouse, but you can listen it while you're in your car. You can be running a room while driving in your car, delivering food to whoever, you know what I mean? You can be doing other things because everyone has now ear pods and, things are we're never ready for it. But when it happens, it hits and it hits really quick. And that's where we're at right now. Things are moving warp speed now that okay, vaccines are coming out, COVID's kind of coming slowly to an end, concerts are now being booked for the end of the year, social media now is moving into this other genre of club. We're going to see Clubhouse all over planet Earth this year. We're going to see NFTs and crypto all over the place this year, so things are moving quick. And I would suggest everyone that's listening to start getting up on it, because you don't want to be that Al Roker who's like, what's the internet?
What's the internet? Yeah.
Because it's going to happen, and it's not like, oh, a couple years from now. It's happening right now.
And you mentioned a big point about the pandemic. The pandemic accelerated this. So right. We're getting into the later stages of the pandemic and vaccines out. And so now we're going to start seeing what that manifested. And it not only accelerated a lot of tech as far as around, the job market and what's happening there, but it accelerated social media. And we're going to look back and we're going to see, hashtags and trying to figure out how to market yourself on Instagram as old stuff that AI and takes care of now. So creators, just worry about the content. Don't worry, the marketing is going to be able to take care of itself based off your content. So we're moving into more focus on you as a creator and what your content is, and not having to worry so much about your follower count or who's seeing you, how your hashtags, your end videos, your advertisements within, all that's going to start being more automatic, and people are going
to. I mean, there's a plethora of content out there that's really amazing, really well done, with time and effort and quality that no one sees because they didn't pay for the marketer to boost their video post, whatever it is. So what we're being fed is crap all the time of people, of just marketers in India or wherever that are tricking the system into pushing this brand a little higher. Whereas you're missing the quality part of social media. And that is where these types of new platforms are coming in and saying, no, it's all about the quality. That's all it is. You don't have to pay for likes or followers or hashtags. It's all about whether you can speak eloquently on any subject, or you don't speak at all and you just listen and absorb new information that you never thought about before. I can't tell you how thrilled I am to see this change. And I think Lee's right. I think it's like a decade of change that's happening in just a few years. And I would actually go a step further than that and say it's like within a few months. Yeah. It's that quick that things are shifting. So I do have to say I'm really thrilled with the way, I personally have been exhausted with social media over the past year, just managing it. I know you have as well, because It is a full-time job that you don't make money doing, so you're having to work other jobs while trying to build a brand. And I do have to say I'm thrilled to see the advances to technology, like you mentioned, and AI, where it's let's just simplify stuff. Let's go back to basics and just connect one-on-one with human beings again, not through bots and fake followers.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that's the big thing is that's going to start taking care of itself. And so I think the direction engineers are going, which is smart, is going the Apple way, which is smart, which is making it extremely user friendly, which is where TikTok and Clubhouse are. And you know, it just works. It just works. Just hit a button, you know. And YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, to keep up, have to make this stuff more simple. All the hashtags and everything. Like, people are going to see these other platforms and they're going to say it's so much easier. Like, we don't want to bother with all that. So keep that in mind. You know, when you're on various people with these millions of networks, like, it is simplifying, and simplification is the way to go. Now Twitter also has Twitter Spaces, which is gonna, you know, their shtick to compete with Clubhouse. I think probably both will go for a while. But check out these apps. You know, here's the thing. Kira and I have talked about moving to Clubhouse, and I'm gonna be thinking about that over the weekend and beyond. Doing our weekly on Clubhouse. I, regardless, am going to keep doing. I want to get back and do some. I know some of you, my viewers, we did a lot of Mandela Effect videos, and I do want to do some more and put those on my YouTube. But we don't want to, you know, if we start doing this more on Clubhouse, we're not opposed to keep doing it on YouTube, but we want things to get more simple across these platforms, because it's been complicated. So we will keep you posted as to what we're going to do as far as the long term and what platforms we want to be on, but just wanted to give everybody a heads up there. I'll let you know on my channel regardless, and on all our social media. So what do you think, Kira? It's going to be interesting, right? Where all this is going.
I'm really excited. I mean, I think the future is looking, well, the future's now, obviously, but it's time. It's time for an evolution of all of this junked up stuff, you know, and very complex, constantly reading blogs and articles and advice on marketing and social media marketing. I mean, it's just crazy. It's its own industry. It's $1 billion industry. It's crazy. And I think it'll be nice to go back to having higher level conversations. You know, I mean, it's not that hard. And I think that's how you get smarter as a people. I think that's how you grow as a society. And I think that's how you personally go through transformations as your own individual. And I'm thrilled to see the direction that social media is going. And frankly, no offense to YouTube or Facebook, but I'm not real concerned about them if they go off onto the wayside. I don't think YouTube's going anywhere anytime soon. That's for sure. It's massive, but you know, they have their work cut out for them. I don't think they realize, you know, it's always the David and Goliath type of thing, where when you're too big, you can't move quick. You can't change quickly. And you've got all these tiny, small companies coming up and taking share, you know, and for YouTube to try and shift into something a little bit different. Oh my God. I mean, it takes meetings and Google. I mean, you know, movement in Google is not quick. So it'll be just interesting to see how these big companies react to these changing times, for sure. But I'm excited for it.
And what do you think as far as, because Clubhouse doesn't save the podcast, right? Or whatever the show is going on. It doesn't save it, right? It's just, you have to be there. It's like a live concert. Like, you don't have the recorded.
Which I like,
product.
you know, I think, you know, you and I had discussed it, where it's like, how many people are actually re-listening to things?
Podcasts.
You know what I mean? Maybe some, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I have a feeling, look, Clubhouse works perfectly, and it came out at the perfect time because we're all working from home.
Mm-hmm.
Going forward, the vast majority probably working from home. So you can be listening to a Clubhouse room while doing work.
Right.
You cannot be on Instagram and Facebook and while at work, because the two don't jive, but you can listen. You're using your different senses. You know what I mean? You could do the multitasking of listening to a room, absorbing the information while working, you know? And I think that's where Clubhouse is really succeeding, is that a lot of people are still working from home and probably will be moving forward, and can do Clubhouse, you know, any time of the day. So, you know, I'm not necessarily real concerned about the whole, well, it's not taped, because I have a feeling that's not going to be the way of the future either. I think everybody wants things right now, and they want, you know what I mean? If you're not there, okay, well, you just missed it. You missed a good conversation. You know, I think that's where the YOLO is going to come back, you know, where it's, or FOMO, where you're, you know, you don't want to miss out on a good conversation. You know, I think that's good.
What did people have to do with music before the radio was around or the internet? They actually had to go to like a live show in person, you know, and eventually to hear music, you were able to hear it just, you know, remotely and such. And it was like a big transition. And I feel like we're also transitioning. We're going through layers of transitioning with that now, with these apps and with social media. And I'm very, very curious just with the NFTs and stuff, just where all that is ultimately going to go long term.
Well, the other thing I'd say is, by the time you absorb whatever video that you haven't watched in a week, that information has already changed.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's the things that are coming out are old news very quickly, to where rewatching something like a pod or whatever, you know, that's old news, because news happens so instantaneously now that nobody wants to watch old shows of, like, you know, maybe Joe Rogan, unless there's like a interview, but I'm not entirely sure that's going to be real big like soon. You know what I mean? I think we're moving away from that.
Well, that's a really interesting point, though, is that because everything can be so in the moment now, we don't need to go, like, people don't need to go back and watch the recorded things. Everything's happening faster, and it's happening more in the moment, and it's happening right, like, in the now. And the direction of everybody is going to in the now. So pre-recorded stuff is losing a lot of its luster, because you can get so much whatever content you want happening kind of in the now. It's going to be interesting to see where that goes.
You know what? That's how we should all be living. We shouldn't be living in the past. And it's always nice to refer back to videos of, like, oh, Gary Vee was talking about X, so you should watch this video. But then he will have a video posted of an updated version of that past video. Like, you know what I mean? And after a while, you're like, I'm surrounded with things I haven't watched.
Yeah.
So I think for sure we're moving into the living in the now. And I think we've all gone through lots of, like, you know, mental awareness and all of that stuff during the pandemic of, like, how do I live in the now? Shit's a mess. I don't know what the future looks like. And, you know, we didn't want to lose our heads about us. So I think we all kind of learned you can only live in the present. That's the only thing that, you know, exists anyways. The past is no longer, the future doesn't exist. And I think our culture is now turning into that as well, which I love, because the present is the only thing that exists. So
given all that, we'll keep everybody posted on you know what what's going to happen next week and beyond. As far as just platforms, you know, we're always playing things in the now and taking it day by day. So we'll keep everybody posted on that. With that said, I know we both have to jump. I think we'll call it a day here, and episode 57. Geoff and Kira Live. Thank you guys for coming here today. Here at Geoff and Kira Live, we are the future. In the future is Geoff and Kira Live. Kira, any final thoughts?
No, happy spring to everyone. Hopefully you guys are all enjoying great weather. We are down here in the south. Thank God. I think winter is finally done.
We've reached mid-March. So thanks, guys. Kira, episode 57. See you soon.
I'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.